Hi, Film Loom here. Today I'm going to explain a horror/thriller movie called Heretic. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film opens in a public park where two Mormon missionaries, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton, discuss pornography. Barnes, more experienced, boasts of recent conversions, while Paxton displays naive but unwavering faith, even expressing sympathy for a pornographic actress. They are visiting people who have previously expressed interest in their church. They arrive at a house, and Barnes secures their bicycles to a fence, pocketing the key. They knock on the door, and a retired Englishman, Mr. Reed, answers. The sisters introduce themselves, stating their purpose, to discuss his interest in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Reed appears receptive and invites them inside, citing the stormy weather. However, the missionaries explain they require a woman present for safety. Reed assures them his wife is home, baking a blueberry pie. Inside, Reed offers to take their damp coats, saying he will also check on the snacks and inform his wife of their arrival. He returns shortly, stating his wife will join them with the pie soon. The trio settles down with warm drinks and begins a conversation. Before discussing religion, Reed inquires about the sisters' personal histories. Paxton shares that she was raised in the church, while Barnes reveals her mother converted after her father's death, during which time they explored different faiths. Reed expresses understanding of the struggle to find faith, admitting it is a personal challenge he has faced for a long time. He then asks Barnes how her father died. Taken aback by the personal question, she replies it was Lou Gehrig's disease. Mishearing her, Reed makes a joke about blueberry disease, quickly realizing his mistake and explaining he thought Barnes was making a pie-related joke. Paxton attempts to lighten the mood by discussing her belief in reincarnation as a butterfly, allowing her to stay close to loved ones. Despite the awkward exchange, Reed steers the conversation back to religion, initially expressing respect for their faith. However, his tone shifts as he raises controversial topics like the history of polygamy and Mormonism. Barnes explains that polygamy was a spiritual mission to help the Mormon community grow after hardship and bloodshed, later discontinued as it was no longer necessary. Reed persists, making the missionaries visibly uncomfortable. He questions the reliability of biblical revelations if those who propagate them are flawed and sinful. He also asks how anyone can be certain of the truth of their religious teachings. Paxton simply states that her faith is based on how it makes her feel. As the conversation continues, the missionaries realize Reed is more interested in imposing his own views than listening to theirs. Barnes interrupts his tirade and asks to meet his wife. Reed hesitates briefly but agrees and leaves the room. Alone, Barnes notices a blueberry pie-scented candle on the table, realizing there is no wife baking a pie. She tells Paxton that Reed has been deceiving them and that his intentions are likely not good. Reed returns without his wife or the pie, instead inviting them to the kitchen. They refuse, Barnes fabricating a story about a call from the church. Disappointed, Reed says he will inform his wife of their departure. As he walks away, Barnes tells Paxton they must leave immediately. They rush to the exit without their coats, only to find the door locked. Paxton tries to use her phone, but there is no signal. They hear a noise from inside the house, and the lights go out. Reluctantly, the women are forced to venture deeper into the house, their initial mission of spreading their faith now transformed into a desperate fight for survival against an unknown threat. The pleasant facade of Mr. Reed has crumbled, revealing a sinister undercurrent that puts the missionaries in grave danger. The missionaries find themselves in a library. Reed enters, welcoming them again. They insist on leaving, retrieving their coats. Barnes notices the bicycle lock key is now inexplicably in Paxton's pocket, despite her having kept it herself earlier. They ask Reed to unlock the front door, but he claims it's on a timer and won't open until morning. He offers the back door, but the sisters are suspicious. They press for the front door, but Reed refuses. His demeanor shifts, accusing them of lying about a call from the church. Barnes insists it was genuine, but Reed reveals the house's metal walls and ceilings block all signals, and he claims he doesn't own a phone. Barnes tries the back door, discovering it leads to the basement, as do other doors she attempts. Feeling trapped, Barnes warns Reed that the state president knows they're there. Paxton fabricates a story about police officers witnessing their arrival. They demand to be released, warning Reed of potential consequences. He dismisses their threats and reveals his true intentions: he will sell them his disbelief. He aims to shatter their faith through logic, declaring that there is no God. He writes belief on one door and disbelief on another. He tells them if they maintain their faith after his arguments, they should choose the belief door. If they agree with him, they should choose disbelief. A terrified Paxton, believing compliance will secure their release, quickly recants her faith, praising Reed's intellect and suggesting they take the disbelief path. Barnes, however, remains resolute in her faith, despite her fear. She challenges Reed's arguments, refuting them and choosing the belief path. She asks Paxton if she still believes in God, and Paxton weakly confirms. Barnes takes her hand and leads her through the belief door. To their horror, Reed locks the door behind them, trapping them in the basement. The basement is dark and unsettling. As they venture further in, they hear approaching footsteps. Barnes, having discreetly pocketed a small knife during Reed's earlier lecture, gives it to Paxton and devises a plan. When she says the code word "magic underwear," Paxton is to attack Reed with the knife. The door opens, but instead of Reed, a gaunt woman in a gray dress appears. She is emaciated, with visible bones, holding a lantern in one hand and a blueberry pie in the other. The missionaries are initially unsure if she is a ghost or a living person. Through a speaker, Reed announces they are about to witness a miracle. He calls the woman a prophet and declares the pie is poisoned. She will eat it, die, and then be resurrected by God. The woman eats the pie and collapses dead. Reed insists she will return, but the doorbell rings, interrupting him. He leaves to answer it, giving Barnes and Paxton a chance to act. They rush to the basement cell door, shouting for help, but the house is soundproofed. They try to create a smoke signal using a burning cloth. Outside, a church representative arrives, inquiring about the missionaries. Reed lies, saying 2 young women visited but left shortly after. He has already removed their bicycles to avoid suspicion. The church representative believes him and departs. In the basement, Barnes and Paxton continue their efforts to create smoke. Just as they succeed, the prophet suddenly comes back to life, shocking them. Reed returns moments later and takes the woman away, elated. He asks the missionaries to describe what they witnessed. Barnes recognizes that Reed is using psychological manipulation to break their faith. She refuses to be deceived, stating it was a trick, not a miracle. Barnes then gives Paxton the signal, saying the code word "magic underwear." In a shocking turn, Reed preempts Paxton's attack and slashes Barnes's throat. Paxton, terrified, frantically tries to escape, but the doors are locked. Reed attempts to calm her, claiming Barnes will be resurrected. However, when Paxton returns to Barnes's body, Reed reveals the resurrection was a staged trick, comparing it to a simulation like the Matrix. He shows Paxton a contraceptive device extracted from Barnes's arm, implying she lived a double life, lacking true faith. Reed challenges Paxton to choose between believing in miracles and his simulation theory. Surprisingly, Paxton begins to see through Reed's manipulation. She calmly points out the staged nature of the miracle, explaining how Reed swapped the prophet with a body double during the distraction of the doorbell. She even deduces the location of the hidden body by moving a table, revealing a hidden basement entrance. Reed challenges her to enter the basement to prove her theory. Driven by a desire for truth and escape, Paxton agrees. Reed tells her to enter only if she seeks the one true religion, and Paxton descends into the basement. She discovers the dead woman, confirming her suspicions. Reed locks the cellar door behind her. Undeterred, Paxton continues exploring and finds a door secured by her bicycle lock. Using the key she now possesses, she unlocks the door, revealing a secret cellar containing numerous imprisoned women. Reed appears behind her, asking if she has found her answer. Paxton confronts him, explaining how he manipulated them from the beginning. She recounts how Reed's feigned conversation with his wife was a ruse to steal the bicycle key from Barnes's coat. She realizes that the key wasn't placed in her pocket by accident, it was a deliberate act of manipulation to lead her to this very place. She understands she isn't here by choice but through Reed's calculated control. Reed confirms that his one true religion is control, admitting his enjoyment of manipulating others, just as religious institutions do. Paxton observes the caged women, filled with pity. Reed coldly states that they are there by their own choices. As Reed continues his psychological torment, Paxton breaks down in tears. Then, unexpectedly, she pulls out the knife and stabs Reed in the neck. Paxton tries to escape the house, but its layout is maze-like. Reed catches up to her and stabs her in the stomach. Both collapse to the floor, bleeding. As they lie dying, Reed tells Paxton to pray. Despite his cruelty, Paxton begins to pray, clinging to her faith in her final moments. Just as Reed is about to deliver the final blow to Paxton, a wooden block with nails embedded in it strikes him in the forehead, killing him instantly. Paxton looks up and sees Barnes, barely conscious, standing above them. Barnes collapses, but her heroic act inspires Paxton to persevere. After a moment of grief for her fallen companion, Paxton finds the strength to climb out a window in Reed's study. She finally escapes the house and collapses outside, catching her breath. A butterfly lands on her hand, a poignant reminder of Paxton's earlier statement about reincarnation, suggesting that Barnes's spirit is with her. The film ends with Paxton's escape and the symbolic presence of the butterfly, leaving the audience to contemplate themes of faith, manipulation, and resilience.